before dinner that what you will do tomorrow is the key to this program. It's the key to your visits here. And it's one of the most meaningful things that will happen throughout the next 3 days. However, I think something that will be equally meaningful to you is a speaker that you are about to hear. Now, our keynote speaker tonight is Scott Owens, who is part of the AbilityOne Speakers Bureau. And the AbilityOne Speakers Bureau, you know, I have gone out and done speeches, and many of us have done them. But where we got the idea for the Speakers Bureau was from these grassroots conferences. Because as we watched at the grassroots sessions and watched how you tell your story with a member of Congress, we said, you know, what we ought to do is have people who actually speak to large groups about the program and about what the job means. So we established an AbilityOne Speakers Bureau made up of people working in the program. Now, I could tell you a lot about Scott Owens, a former corporal in the United States Army. I will say that he served 2 tours of duty in Iraq. And I have lots of notes about Scott, and I could tell you all of that. But I know what Scott is planning to do, and I think it would be a lot better if that story came from Scott and not me. Would you agree, Scott? Yeah, he'd rather cover himself. So let me just conclude my introduction and welcome Corporal Scott Owens.
Honored guests and program participants, good evening. Thank you for having me here in the nation's capital for such an important event. My name is William Scott Owens. My friends and family call me Scott. And I'm here to talk about a program that's helping wounded veterans get their lives back. With all the bad news coming out about unemployment among veterans, you might appreciate about hearing about one that turned out okay. And it's all thanks to a program we all know as the AbilityOne. I grew up in a military family. My dad was in the Army, so was my grandfather. I joined the Army in 2000. I was 21 years old. I went to basic training and airborne school at Fort Benning, Georgia. I became an infantryman. Known in the Army as 11 Bravo, we were the foot soldiers, frontline fighters. Sometimes they often refer to us as grunts. After airborne school, I was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, home of the 101st Airborne Division, where I was trained to be the platoon RTO, or radio telephone operator. On September 11, 2001, I was in a chow hall eating breakfast when a sergeant came in and made an announcement. He said, "Chew what you have in your mouth and report to your units immediately." It was just a matter of time before we would all deploy. My unit got their orders, and on April 1st, 2003, we landed in Najaf, Iraq. I was permanently disabled my second day there. We were given a mission to clear a compound that was said to be housing the Fedayeen, Saddam's special forces. They were notorious for their cruelty to the Iraqi civilians. As we got closer, we started taking fire from a sniper up in a tower. We got a call that mortar rounds were coming from both directions and we needed to get to safety right away. Soon mortar rounds began falling from the sky. A mortar round looks like a football with fins on it. It's shot out of a tube and can be set to explode either on the ground or in the air. They make a very loud explosion and leave a crater. Most mortar rounds have a kill radius of 35 meters, so that'd be about from where I'm at to where that light is at the back of the room. And a danger radius of 100 meters, which is pretty close to the size of a football field. You have to be about 100 meters away to truly come away unscathed from a mortar explosion. Mortar rounds can cause injuries a few different ways. You can get hit by shrapnel, you can get burned by the explosion, or you could end up with brain damage from the concussive force of the explosion. I was near the compound wall when the round started exploding. I was in the kill zone for at least 5 of the explosions. I felt like I was in a 4D war movie that day. The only reason I didn't die right there is because there was a stone wall that was between me and the explosion. That wall hadn't been there, I wouldn't be sharing my story with you today. The concussive blast blew me forward and knocked me out. I can't remember anything that happened for a few weeks after that. My memory's still a bit hazy, but friends and family have helped me fill in some of the missing pieces. In the infantry, if you still have your arms, legs, and sight, you're going to go back to work. So I went back to work, but there was something different about me after that day. Something that I noticed just wasn't right. I was forgetting things that I needed to know that were important to my job. I forgot the call signs that I needed to use during radio communications. So I requested to go back to the line as a rifleman instead of being the radio telephone operator. I finished my 13-month tour and went on to serve another 6-month tour. I got new injuries, things that I just had to live with until my time in the Army was over. I broke a bone in my spine during that firefight, tore ligaments in my foot, lost hearing in both ears, among other things. Infantry take pride in being tough and independent. But all of these injuries made it difficult to keep up with the other soldiers. I didn't realize it at the time, but I had disabilities that I was trying to hide. I loved being part of the Army. I took pride in my job, but at 30 years old, I felt like an old man who just couldn't keep up. I told Shannon, my wife, I don't want to hide my injuries anymore. So in 2009, when my commitment with the Army was complete, I didn't re-enlist. My last day in the Army was June 2nd, 2009. My first day of being a civilian felt strange, empty, and exciting all at the same time. I was excited to start my new life, but the pressure was on to find work. I had a family to support. We had a 2-year-old daughter and another one on the way. But I felt confident that I would find a job soon. I had 9 years in the Army with a pattern of hard work and promotion. I had taken on leadership roles, I had administrative experience, and a good work ethic. Even if I don't get a job right away, I had a safety net. I had a nest egg saved up. It was going to be a down payment on a house. It took me nearly 3 years to save all that money. I had that as a cushion, but I really didn't want to touch it. Meanwhile, I was dealing with some service-related medical and emotional issues. I was having migraine headaches and seizures where my body would lock up and I would stop breathing. I was going in and out of the hospital for that. We even kept smelling salts in the house because I was having them about 2 times a month. Then there were some smaller issues that were just plain weird. I was losing my memory. I'd go outside to mow the lawn, something you pretty much have to do every other weekend, especially in the summertime. And I'd go out there and just stand, forgetting what it was that I had gone out there to do. Another time I got in a car to go to Walmart, which was about 5 miles around the corner from my house. I couldn't remember how to get there. I had some weird emotional changes too. I was having nightmares almost every night. My wife recalls one nightmare where I woke up curled in a ball screaming, "Did they see me? Did they see me?" I shoved my elbows in her back, climbed over her, fell off the bed, started crawling across the carpet. I woke up on the floor wondering, what happened? Where am I and why am I on the floor? Another day I got surprised when I drove over a pothole I didn't expect. I stopped in the middle of the road, got out of the car and started looking around. That's a normal reaction in a place like Iraq or Afghanistan, but not here in America. Shannon was in the passenger seat and it scared her half to death. She said that my personality was different too. She said that I used to be a laid-back, happy-go-lucky kind of person. When I came back, I was serious all the time. My face had lost all expressions. So I was coping with some unexpected changes while I was looking for a job. Also, my job search took longer than I expected. I was applying to 7 jobs a week for over a year. I didn't get one single phone call or interview. No response at all. I sent resumes everywhere. Pinellas County Employment Services, USA Jobs, temp agencies, Walmart, even McDonald's. I thought for sure at least McDonald's would hire me. I called McDonald's and they said, "We got your resume, but you're overqualified to work here." I thought to myself, how on earth am I overqualified to work at McDonald's? I've never worked fast food in my life. With 2 kids to feed, my savings was gone in 18 months. I had worked 3 years to save that money and it was gone. My wife and I started accepting donations from our church and other organizations. I started to feel panicked, depressed, and trapped. Just surviving and getting through life seemed just too much to handle. Mentally, I was hanging by a thread. We got the electric bill in the mail. We didn't have the money to cover it. I asked the utility company for some sort of financial aid. They gave us a break on the bill and said not to expect this again. It was a one-time thing. They said this was meant to be a hand up, not a handout. I'm definitely not the kind of person to go looking for a handout. For 9 years in the Army, I did my part and served my country. I was happy to do it. I took on extra responsibility. I took pride in my work. I didn't think that this kind of thing could ever happen to me. I wondered, why is joining the civilian world so difficult? All I need is one decent job. No one is calling me. The employers didn't know what to do with me. I didn't know what to do with me. I was just lost. Just getting by was a struggle. I needed some relief. I started thinking some dark thoughts. I thought that if I was dead, then my family could survive on my life insurance policy. Then one day I said that same thought out loud. I told my wife that I'd be more valuable to the family if I was dead. They always say that it's the darkest before the dawn. Well, that was true for me. Saying those words changed everything. Shannon, my wife, called the VA helpline, Veterans Helpline. An ambulance came, took me to the VA hospital where I could get some help. There's 3 important things that came from that one hospital visit. After a year of delayed appointments, I got an official diagnosis from the VA. There's a well-known backlog of paperwork in the VA, and I happened to be trapped in that backlog. So just getting this diagnosis was a huge accomplishment. My diagnosis is mild to severe traumatic brain injury, or TBI. Seizure activity brought on by severe migraines and memory loss. I also have severe post-traumatic stress disorder, bilateral hearing loss, which is hearing loss in both ears, and tinnitus, which is that consistent ringing in the ears, among other health problems. Because of this diagnosis, I qualified for 90% disability compensation. The VA started the process for getting me back wages for an entire year. Thirdly, I was matched with a vocational training program to help me find a job. It's called Servicesource. They have a program designed to help veterans with disabilities called the Warrior Bridge. I sat down with Muriel Boyson of Servicesource in November 2010 and showed her my resume. She said I had a lot of transferable skills and valuable experience, but my resume was too military focused for the civilian world. She helped me understand exactly what it was that the job market was looking for. I rewrote my resume with Muriel's recommendations. That winter, I went through some vocational rehabilitation. I wasn't ready to get a job yet, but Muriel was preparing me for the job market. In the springtime, Muriel called me with an opportunity that she thought would be a good fit for my skills. She said Servicesource was looking for wounded veterans to perform contract closeout for the DoD. It required working with people using administrative skills and having fine attention to detail. She thought it would be perfect for me. I sent my resume and got a call in for an interview. I sent out thousands of resumes, and this was the only interview I had gotten in 2.5 years. But all I needed was more. 10 tons was lifted up. 10 tons of weight was lifted off my shoulder when they told me that I had gotten the job. I started in October 2011, and I've been there ever since. So that's the end of my story. Now I'd like to share a little bit about my job and share some information about the AbilityOne program that you may not know. What I do is called contract closeout. It's a specialized administrative function. Basically, when someone in the government signs a contract, the money is committed for a certain number of years. When the contract is over, if there are funds remaining on the contract, they need to be released back into the treasury. It sounds simple, but it requires specialized paperwork, and not everyone knows how to do it. If the DoD buys it, from beams to bullets to tanks and aircrafts, there's a contract for it. And the contracts need to be closed out at the end of completion. So if you take a long look at all the military bases around the world and all the contracts that they have, the paperwork adds up. Everyone who works on this contract is required to undergo Defense Acquisition University certified training. I went on a 7-day training course through ESI called International Contract Closeout. I learned things like the Federal Acquisition Regulation, contract law, the process that all contracting officers must go through to spend the government dollars, and the process that must be completed to close the contract. With the war in Iraq over and the one in Afghanistan coming to an end, the number of veterans under or unemployed is reaching historical highs. It's even harder to find gainful employment if you're a disabled vet. The AbilityOne program is prepared to provide what the wounded vet needs to succeed. The AbilityOne program works with 600 nonprofit agencies across every state, Guam, and Puerto Rico. These agencies train and hire people with disabilities and wounded veterans. Servicesource is one of these agencies. The AbilityOne program is currently helping about 3,000 veterans like me embark on a new path. A path towards becoming honorable citizens, taxpayers, and contributors to the success of the American economy. In conclusion, I want to say thank you for allowing me to share my story and why the AbilityOne program is so important to me. I hope that it will serve as an inspiration to share your stories and why the AbilityOne program is important to you and such an important part of this great republic. As we journey to Capitol Hill, remember this phrase, Carpe Diem, seize the day. it is yours to do so. Thank you.
What? I don't think he's not prepared for that one.
Us here, we want to present you this flag. It's made by North Bay Industries. We have two other agencies that are also make the U.S. flag. I think North Bay is here. Are you here?
Their flight's delayed. They'll be here about 9 o'clock.
Oh, their flight's delayed, so they will be part of this as well. They always want to know if there's any flag presentation, if it was one they made. So this one they did make. But in any case, this is made by people with disabilities. And hopefully, being the patriot that you are, and also knowing that it's part of our program and made by people with disabilities, you will find good use and treasure this. Thank you, Scott.